Hi, it's
Hi,
Janet
how are
Neal.
you?
Hi, Robyn. This is Janet Neal of The Superb Woman, and I want to welcome all our viewers out there to Superb Woman Sundays at 7. Today, my guest is Robyn Hatcher, and Robyn is a communication skills expert, recovering actor, and the founder of Speaketc, which is a boutique communications and presentation skills company. And Robyn is the author of this book, Standing Ovation Presentations. Discover your unique actor type and let it shine. So, in 1 minute, we'll get Robyn on here to talk about her book and what she's done and what brought her to being the superb woman that she is today. But first, let me just tell you, those of you who are new, welcome, and let me tell you a little bit about the Superb Woman. I started the company with the belief that women are powerful beings, and many of us do not realize it. And so the Superb Woman is a company that provides training, coaching, and speaking engagements, and special events, all with the intent of helping to empower women, to help them to step into their power, and to move from being a superwoman who's all about do, and the result can be being a little guilt-ridden, a little stressed out. I know because I was one of them, to taking that step back to take the time to understand who you are, what your skills are, what your talents are, what are your gifts that you can put back into the world for the betterment of all. And when you do that, you really step into your power. And by inserting that be, you become a superb woman. So I like to say it's all about the be. So I started this Superb Woman Sundays at 7 because I have been fortunate enough to meet the most amazing superb women on my journey. A lot recently I have met, and Robyn is one of them. Robyn and I met I was trying to think exactly the first time because we keep running into each other at events, but I think we met through a mutual friend at a networking event. And since that time, I've actually been to one of Robyn's presentations, and I can tell you she does a fantastic job as a presenter. So that's really a fun thing to do. And then I see her often at other networking events, and we've had fun getting to know each other. And then I recently found out that Robyn also had been a presenter at the Women at Woodstock event that I had been a presenter at last year. So that's another thing that we have in common. And for those of you who are not familiar with Women at Woodstock, it's a wonderful retreat for women over 50, and I encourage you to go to their website at www.womenatwoodstock.com and learn more about that. But I don't want to talk anymore and take away the time from Robyn. So Robyn, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a
And
pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm really happy to have you here with us tonight, and I just want you to spend a few minutes telling everybody about your story, because the one thing that intrigues me the most is how you talk about that you were a very shy child. And I actually was very surprised when I read that after I had known you for a while, because that doesn't come across at all. And the fact that you are a communications expert. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic, and I keep it well hidden now. But for years, as a child, I was really shy. I cowered. First of all, it's like to backtrack. I didn't speak very early. I spoke very late. I didn't speak complete sentences till I was about 2, so that impacted the way that I communicated. And then when I did start to communicate, it was very difficult to understand me because I made up my own words, which when you think about what I do now, it's like I do write and all of this stuff. So I made up my own words, and it was very difficult to understand. And only my mother understood me. So when we would go to events, I would hide behind my mother all the time because I was so shy. And one time my uncle said, addressed me as shy. And then the family started laughing, of course. I have a very gregarious family. They're very talkative. And then they started to address me as shy. And it became my nickname. And I would be introduced as Shy when I would be walking down the street. This is, my mother would say, "This is my daughter Shy," and she would start
Wow.
signing Christmas cards as Shy.
You're kidding.
And
People would actually
no,
call you
yeah,
Shy.
people called me Shy. People called me Shy, and it was she
Wow.
got fancy with the spelling. She started spelling it SHAI on Christmas cards, and then people thought, and this was way before this was de rigueur, but they thought, oh, did she adopt someone from China? I mean, it was just the whole idea that it's adopted name Shy. And so it was a very interesting time. There was actually a neighbor of mine who, God rest his soul, went to his grave thinking that I was mentally challenged because I was so shy that I would never look at him and I would never interact. And at one occasion, it's a kind of funny story, but my older sister was talking to the guy, and he said, he turned around, he said, "She's backwards, isn't she?" And my sister didn't know what the word backwards meant. And she looked at me, and my back was to him, and she said, "Yeah." So he started, I mean, the upside of that is like we got a lot of candy all the time. He would always go and he would give my mother things for us because he felt sorry for her to have to raise this backward child. And now I'm me. And but in high school, I said, I'm really tired of being shy. It was really started to be really crippling, and I could feel the effect, and I could see that I felt like there was something in me to give, and I wasn't giving the opportunity. And what I did was I heard an announcement for a play audition. And I knew because my mother had tried years ago to get me out of my shyness by putting me into an acting class. And to the life of me, I don't know what happened in that acting class. I know that something clicked, but I would still leave the acting class and still be as shy as I had been.
Mhm.
So in high school, I thought maybe my mother was onto something. Maybe this will help, or maybe I remembered the experience when I was a child. And I went and I just poured my heart out in this audition. And it was kind of like that shy person finally had 2 minutes of somebody's attention,
Mm.
that they couldn't interrupt her. And I feel like that was the beginning of me being able to let go of some of what was inside of me. And then little by little, when I had to do that show and I had to do it more often, and being in drama club created friends, and most of the people in drama club were sort of misplaced geeks, and so we all had that in common, and we all supported each other. And that was one of the things that started to let me know that there was something more than shy inside of me.
Wow, that's an amazing story. I can't get over it. I can't get over that you went from so shy that people changed your name to being the person that you are today. So obviously you got the acting bug, and is that what you did then later as you
Yeah.
transitioned into adulthood?
Yeah, because when I went to, I was in the drama club, and that's where I got my security. That's where I got my sense of self, by being an actor. And so when it was time to apply for college, I thought that I decided that I would study theater and study acting. So I got my BFA in theater. I moved to New York pretty quickly afterwards. I did a lot of theater in Philadelphia, where I'm from. And then I moved to New York and started doing theater. I had some success as on off-Broadway stages. I did some soap opera work, and then I found a niche in commercial work, and I did a lot of commercials, radio, and voiceover. I still do radio and print and voice and commercials when they appear. Just did an episode of The Blacklist. So that was my first love. And then in one acting class, one of my teachers said, I couldn't find a monologue or anything that I liked, so I wrote something myself. And I did that. And he said, that was really good. Why don't you write a play around it? And I thought, oh, come on, that's crazy. I'm not a writer. But the more he kept insisting, and I did it, and I wrote a play, and that play became a screenplay, and that screenplay got picked up by ABC Daytime, that then brought me into a daytime soap opera writing program, and I wrote for the soaps for 2 years. And so from there, it melded all of my loves. And to just backtrack a little bit, that the audition that I did for that one high school play, I wrote that myself. because I couldn't, at 14, I couldn't find a monologue. I didn't even know what a monologue was, but I decided that I was going to write my own monologue. So that just
Wow.
let all of this stuff out. So now everything comes full circle.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's great.
so I had a writing career, I had an acting career, then I started teaching and started my own business with helping other people to express themselves. And the irony was, it wasn't until I was in a big conference, like where a business conference and discovering your unique selling proposition, all of that, like what sets you apart in the business that you're doing. It wasn't until then that I started putting together the fact that I was shy with the complete opposite of what I am doing now.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, it was like a light bulb. I kept thinking, I kept sitting in this workshop. It was one of those big workshops, and I kept thinking, I did nothing special. I have nothing. There's nothing unique about me. There's nothing, I had no hardship. I was thinking of all these hardships. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God.
Definitely.
This is like, oh, that's right there. And I kept wanting, that I realized, okay, this is part of my business. This is one of the things that sets me apart.
Mm. So I didn't catch that. Was that when you had first started your business, or did
No,
this?
I'd been in business for a while and it hadn't even dawned on me. No, I was in business, doing communication skills, doing what I was doing, but never connected the dots to the fact that one of the things that makes me good at what I do, or makes me understanding of other people's issues around communication, was the fact that I had been so shy and was named shy. And I had never put those two things together until that one workshop, like maybe, I think it was about 5 or 6 years into my business.
Wow. And that's a really good point, though, Robyn, that a lot of people, I get this asked this all the time, that how do you figure these things out?
Right.
It's great if you get this insight all of a sudden that comes to you, but people need help. So
Yeah.
you went to a workshop and got this idea. Were there other things that helped you along your path to start to kind of put the pieces together?
Well, yeah, it was. I always a knowledge seeker, and one of the things that helps me so much is just all the research and being around people. And I have been really, really fortunate to have a wonderful network of friends, of girlfriends who just are so incredibly supportive, and and I can't say more about it. Just being really supportive and digging and things like that, and sharing all of our stuff and having these deep conversations. So that's one of the things that I really seek out is the community that are going through similar things or knowing similar things, and then I can then discover more about myself the more I'm with people who are also in the process of discovery.
Mm.
And that's really been a huge help. So and for years, even when I discovered the shy thing, I was a little reticent about bringing my acting skills or my acting history or background into my business, because I kept thinking, oh, they're so different, and actors are so maligned sometimes, and people are going to think that I'm ditzy, they're going to think that I'm flaky if I own being an actor. But the more that I realize, it's like, that's who I am, and and the skills that I learned there, now it's like my whole book is a metaphor about my acting and writing skills and knowledge that I gained over the years, and I realized how much that's helped me to become who it is that I am.
Absolutely. I mean, that what you just said is the perfect example of a superb woman.
Yeah.
It's using all of your skills and talents, and then when you do, then you really find your power.
Yeah.
So let me just take a second here before we talk further to remind those of you who are viewing this live that you can ask questions. So all you have to do is go to your screen there and type in a question, and we'll be glad to get to those questions. So Robyn, I wanted to get back to the point that you were just talking about bringing in your skills as an actor into your current business. And as I said in your book title, it's about discovering your unique actor type. So I'm intrigued by that, and I have to confess, I have the book, and I haven't read all of it yet. So So tell me more about the actor types and how that plays into doing these kinds of presentations.
Right. The thing about actor types, what I discovered and how I discovered for myself and with my clients, the more I started working with clients, the more I started, is there a problem?
Oh, no.
Okay. The more I started uh, working with different types, different nationalities, different classes, different people, I realized that there's a certain similarity in a lot of people as well. And I started seeing is one of the things that goes wrong with people is that they try to model themselves on somebody else. You know, they want to be, and as an actor, this would happen all the time. It's like, oh, I can do anything. I can play any part. And we would sit around and we would complain about, oh, why did she get that audition? I didn't get that audition. I could do that role. And the truth of the matter is, you can't really, because we all have an innate quality in us. We have an innate quality that's based on either nature or nurture, and a combination of both. And that quality is what makes us amazing. That's what makes us superb. And when we try to be something else and not be true to that quality, then it becomes something fake and not authentic and not as effective a way of communicating. So what I started looking at is like, you know what? When you look at actors, when you look at people, we all comes in types. You know, you look like, with the exception of people like Meryl Streep, most actors are successful because they have one type, they play it well, they do it great, it's a moneymaker, they save it, and from movie to movie they make sort of tweaks around it, but it's extremely successful and effective. And we as presenters and communicators can do the same thing. We can then take whatever skill that we have and bring it to the table each time and become more authentic and effective. Then we also have the option of being the Meryl Streeps, and we also have we can have the responsibility of being Meryl Streep, so that if the director says, I need this type, you know, we have the buddy type, we have a hero, we have a superhero, we have an ingenue, we have a villain, which is a great type, and all those types, is like if the director is calling or a situation is calling for one type, we need to have our skills polished and be able to say, yes, I can deliver that type. Yes, I can be like that because the situation needs it. Or you can say, you know, that's not me. You know, that is not who I am. And so it's a way of really being able to weed things out also. You have to know what your values are, what value you're bringing to the table, and what it calls for at any given moment.
Absolutely. So it's discovering who you are, discovering what's important to you, and then I loved what you said about being authentic, and that's really the key to the whole thing.
It's the whole because we as listeners are, and audience members, we're much smarter than we think. Our brains are processing so many things, and we're really into neuroscience, and what we do is we process it right away. And if you're not being authentic to, what I would say is, like, if you're not really authentic to your core actor type, people somehow know it. They can smell it. They can sense it. They can feel it. And then there's this disconnect. And then there's not as much trust, or there's not as much engagement. And therefore, there's not as much ability for them to connect with you, or even to hear your message, to buy your product, to use your services, because they're in this whole mistrust stage. It's like, you're not really being authentic, and I don't know why, and I'm not going to trust you.
Yep. Sadly, in the past, I've had that experience myself. And, you know, on both sides of it, you know, being an audience member and being a presenter. So, you know, I know
definitely.
Absolutely what you're saying is true. So let me ask a question that I've wondered about. So you're being a shy person, and I have seen you at networking events several times, and that is not a natural place for shy people to go. So how do you get yourself to do those kinds of things?
This is what I tell people, to get over their nerves as well. It's like, when I'm at and I can still be, I wrote a whole blog post about a year ago about being at a networking event, and shy just comes up, you know, and sometimes I have to battle with her and say, look, we're staying and we're going to assume this persona right now because we're not going to run from this. And what I do and what I recommend people to do when they're presenting and they're afraid is like, I have to get in touch with what I have to give. And whenever I can get in touch with what I have to give and what I have to share or exchange with another human being, then I can get out of my shyness, because then I feel like, okay, I'm here to help people. I'm here to meet people. I'm here to give them something, to tell them about my shyness so that maybe they can get over their shyness. So the more that I can network effectively, the more people I'll be able to help, because then those people that I network with can then share my story or share my experience or share my business card with other people. So I have to get myself into that head of, yes, you are this person in this situation so that you can do good.
Excellent. That's excellent advice. I know a lot of people can find value from that, so thank you for sharing that. Now, another question is, you know, I think you and I would both agree that we can't do this all by ourselves.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
So who has helped you along the path? You mentioned your friends, but who else has been really instrumental in you becoming the person you are today?
Yeah. Well, there's several people. It's like I do have to acknowledge my mom for instilling a lot of that belief. You know, she really, almost to an extreme, kept telling me that I'm good enough, that there's no one. You know, every time I would complain about something, the answer was, oh, they're just jealous of you. And even though I didn't believe it, eventually it started to come in, and it made a difference. Then, of course, I have to acknowledge my husband, who has been so supportive of me for over 30 years. Of, you know, being an actor, being a this, being a that, not always bringing in money, not always having a proof of success, but he believed in me. And then, like, you cannot underestimate the value of women, of support from women. And I can trace my shyness. One of my earlier friends, when I first in New York, and she's a successful vice president in television. She's like a great, huge person in television in California. Her name is Marcy Kaplan-Ross. And there was something in that friendship that she brought out. She would challenge me repeatedly about my sense of self. And she would force me to talk about my emotions. She would force me to be present. And there was that relationship. And then and she moved to California years past, and so I had to develop other friendships. And other friendships also would challenge me. And my current friendship with Amy Ferris is invaluable, because Amy Ferris is someone who champions women almost 24/7. And you can almost look at that and think, wow, if she's championing so many women, how sincere can it be? But I cannot tell you that when she champions people, we feel it. And without some of the support that she's given me over the years, I don't know that I would be where I am right now. And it's just little things of just believing in me, just telling me how helpful I am to her, telling me that I'm a goddess to her, and giving me specific feedback about how I helped her through communication. And for me, for a long time, it's like, how can I be helping her? She's helping me. And so that's that emotional support. And then, of course, she does referrals, she does networking, she introduces me to so many people. She thinks about me before, for different events or different speaking gigs. And so it's that kind of support that when I'm feeling down, I feel like those downs are not as low, because I know that there are people out there that believe in me and that really champion and believe that I'm successful, that believe that I add value to the world. And as long as you know that there are people out there that believe in you, it's like without Marcy way back then getting me to open up and being a much more open person, to where I am now with Amy, it's just like I don't know what would have happened without some of the women along the way.
That's one beautiful story. And I would say also that it's a combination. It's if you don't believe in yourself, surround yourself with people who do believe in you until you can believe in yourself.
Exactly.
And then continue to surround yourself with that positive energy. It just helps everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there are so many things. Like, my friend Joyce is just amazing as well. We have the acting person that helped me, the mom person that helped me, and they just continually tell me, oh yeah, you're doing great. And when I don't believe it, I know that I have a fan club.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So one other quality that I like to say about superb women is they lead should-free lives, that they, let go of the shoulds, which contain the guilt that so many of us carry around. What's one should that you have released in your life?
Yeah, there are shoulds that are intertwined, and the two shoulds I would say is, the one should is that I should be all things to all people, and that has driven me crazy for a long time. So if somebody didn't, and someone just posted on Facebook recently a similar story, but like if somebody doesn't like you, it would just break my heart, and I would obsess over it forever. It's like I should, but I should have gotten that job. I should be liked by that person. I should, and intertwined with that. Maybe it's not as intertwined, but that's a huge one. But another huge one is that I should keep myself small so that other people can be big, and that is a really big. It's more of a shouldn't. I shouldn't step out, because I'm stepping on somebody else's territory. If I'm too big, then I'm letting that person think that they're lesser than. And that was the last should that I started tackling, and that was a big one, because getting rid of that should really let me expand and grow. And it's like, by being big, I can't be responsible for what other people think of my being big. I can't take care of everybody else and keep myself small because of it.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree with you, and that is a myth that so many of us have bought into, that that we can't all be big.
Right. Yeah.
We all can be. Why not?
Exactly.
So,
I know. Right. Big world.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And one of my favorite sayings is a rising tide lifts all ships. So why not? We just all help each other up. And you, Robyn, you've given beautiful examples of how women in your life have really helped you and pulled you up.
Right.
I know you are doing the same for others on your path. So
yeah.
Thank you. So I want to thank you so much for being my guest today, and encourage everybody to get Robyn's book. Robyn, this is on Amazon?
It's on Amazon, is on barnesandnoble.com, and on my website, speaketc.com, you can take a 9-minute quiz to find out what your actor type is.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I think I will have to go to that right after this. So here's her book, Standing Ovation Presentations. So go check that one out. And I just want to again say thank you, and thank you all of you for tuning in today to Superb Women Sundays at 7. Next week, my guest will be Gloria Loring, who from Days of Our Lives fame, and an actor, singer, and author as well. And I encourage all of you to go back and watch the other videos of the other superb women that I've interviewed, and stay tuned for future ones coming up. Again, thank you so much, Robyn, for being my guest.
Thanks, Janet. It's been a pleasure. Take care.
I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Have a great week, everyone. Be well.